Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Investing Blueprint. How you doing, PJ?
What's good on, Fab? It's all good. It's all good. A
Good,
little
man.
sour from, the trading competition, but yeah, it's all
Yeah,
good.
I mean, we still have about just over 24 hours left in it, but it's
Yeah,
been fun. I think it's been enjoyable. We could talk about it a little bit later in the side bet. Just want to
definitely.
let everybody know this is not financial advice. We're just going to go quickly through the disclaimer.
Nothing that is said during this show should be construed as investment advice. Remember to conduct your own analysis and seek your own financial advisor before investing. This show is brought to you by Signature FX.
So we got Andrew. Andrew's moving, and I heard that he's going to be coming in the RV. So
Yeah.
yeah, his rolling in nice. Hey Andrew, welcome.
Hi guys, how we doing? Yeah,
Good,
great to be
man.
back on the show, but that's definitely the wrong RV. I think we're talking more Breaking Bad at the moment. So yeah, it's definitely more like get to the hazmat suits and COVID
Yeah.
situation here in the UK. But yeah, so moving home, and they say it's probably one of the most stressful times of your life. And on this occasion, I'll agree. So yeah, we've literally moved out, and I'm here now, like sitting on garden or patio furniture, just hotspotting off an iPhone and on a works laptop. So here we are. But guys, really looking forward to this show. I think you guys, pulled the cat out of the bag with today's guest. So I'll leave that guys up to you for the big introduction.
Yeah, sure. So we had a great interview because of scheduling. We were in a position where we pre-recorded it, but we have a very extra special guest, and we'll get over to that interview right now.
Our extra special guest is none other than Zuri Darrell. Zuri is VP of Investor Services at Butterfield Asset Management Limited. It's fantastic to get you on the show, Zuri. Let's kick it off with how you got started with your investing journey.
From a young age, always been interested in investing, entrepreneurship, and kids. I have a Yahoo Finance demo account when I was really young because I couldn't trade obviously if you if you're not 18. So I always remember my first investment in the demo account at least was Apple. I had a little iTunes. You remember those little iPods that Apple had come out with that everybody had. So I had one of those. So I said, let me just try and invest in this. And the stock just kept going up. And I'm like, I don't have any real money in this. So I always used to read about stuff and always, so that's kind of how I got started and, ask questions. And also my family, was kind of entrepreneurs in some sort of ways. So I always remember my father actually, he always had a taxi. So he's in a taxi as long as I can remember. And I've never seen my dad drive a taxi. He's never been out and driven his taxi for hire. However, every week, the taxi would come in the yard and the guy would get out and give my dad an envelope. So for me, I didn't understand. Like he didn't go to work in a taxi, but he was still making money from it. And that was a genius to me. For me, like as a kid, I'm like, because everybody just teaches you to go out and and do work physically or however you make your money, and that's how you're gonna earn a living. But he had an investment, and he was home eating dinner with us, and the guy would knock on the door and bring an envelope every week. So for me, that was investing right there.
Right.
And just kind of grew my interest from that.
After having that exposure, what was your next step? Like what you started trading, Yahoo demo accounts, and then where did you go from there?
Yeah, so two things I started. One, I opened a brokerage account, online brokerage account trading. So put a little bit of money in and just started. Just bought. I think the first thing I bought was Apple, of course, and I would try and just every time I had a little extra money, I would put it in the account, and I would, so then I would listen to like I would try to listen to the news, and then I heard about CNBC and Bloomberg. So I tried, and I didn't have those channels on my TV at the time, so I used to try to. And this was all at the beginning of the internet. The internet was really slow. You guys remember the dial-up modem?
Yes.
Trying to get online and find information. So I look in the newspaper. The newspaper had like stock market information, but it was like from the day before, so I couldn't. So I would just devour as much information as I could. And then actually also got a little like FX trading account actually. We could talk about that later too. But and that was a pretty big risk for me, but I took it and I started trading in that space. So that was, it was all about education, just learning as much as I could.
What kind of things do you think have helped you to stick with it? I know a lot of people get into it and then they either fall off or they find other interests. What kind of things make it easy to be or help you to be successful in this market?
The failures actually help. The hard ones help, right? You remember that big trade that went the wrong way, or that stock that just didn't go your way. So I remember for me specifically, this was early in the days of when we were talking about solar technology and stuff. And I invested in this company called Solar City, I believe it was, or something like that. And the stock probably went from about $100 and something to about 20. And for some reason, I kept with it, and I just stuck with it, and I saw the red percentage points just going higher and higher, and I just kept sticking with it. Like, this company's gonna turn around, and it just never did. And I had to eat that loss hard, and and I told myself, look, all the signs were there. They had bad earnings quarter after quarter. The CEO was doing the pack, and the technology that they had to develop didn't turn into what it was supposed to be. So that was a huge lesson, and for me, kind of education is huge, is key, research is key, right? So all of these signs were there of this company wasn't performing well, and obviously the stock wasn't going to perform well. So I would definitely say that was one of the things that started to keep me into it. I mean, it might sound strange, but so I remember that as a quote unquote failure. I lost money on that trade, and I was I was invested in that company. And so two things. One is the education, and the second is the emotions, right? Because I was emotionally attached to this.
I was just about to ask you that.
I was emotionally attached. I thought it was the future, but the space was the future, but the company was poor. So I think that was a huge lesson to learn, and those are kind of my two things: it's kind of education and emotion, right? If you can get your handle on those two things, and you're talking about investing, you can go a long place, because those are the two things will mostly wipe you out.
Yeah, that's something that once I learned, things changed a lot for me as well, where you could have a bad company but a great entry point and you can make money, or you could pick a great company at a bad entry point and you're gonna lose money. So it's really understanding where you are in the trade. And I felt that one with you. So that was something, man, to hold on to something, and you're like, I've done all this research. Put the time in to, look at each earnings and see what they're doing, and it's still not performing for me. So what, to hold it all the way down, I've been there too, man.
Yeah, I think we're all been there. We're all been there. I know that feeling where it's like I can't sell now. Like this is
you can't crystallize this.
Yeah.
You can't crystallize this, Lord. Like,
depending on your risk management, you could kind of get a little bit out of something if you, let's say if you didn't put in too much in there and you bought when it's way down to lower your purchasing price. But that comes with experience and time.
You right, that's the thing, right? You buy as it goes lower, but that's the assumption that has been turned around. They keep
Yeah.
going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just digging yourself a bigger hole, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah.
had those trades, and I think when you're able to learn from that, nobody forgets that. You don't
Yeah.
forget those
Yeah.
trades. So for me, it was like I will never make this mistake again. I will, and if I do make the mistake, if I do make the mistake, or if the company doesn't turn out the way what I hoped, I need to be emotionally intelligent enough to move on and to call it for what it is and to find another investment.
Do you look into or use technical analysis at any point in your trades, or are you mainly like a fundamental sort of
I
investor?
think it's very important to use both.
Okay, cool. That's my position.
I think it's very important to use both. Some people on one side or the other. I think that so I was FX. It was mostly technical analysis.
Right.
So fundamental. I mean, the fundamental analysis. So obviously, by trade, I'm an investment manager at an asset management shop. So by trade, I'm a fundamental analysis, of course, right? I'm a fundamental analyst. That's what I stand for, and that's kind of what I do in my day job. But I think it's very important when you're talking about entry points, and you're talking about adding to your portfolio, that you have to use technical analysis to talk about, how, if the market's been run up for the last 5 days or whatever the case may be, and now you want to, add to a position, is it the right time? In the FX space, as I'm sure you guys know, all of the, you're talking about RSIs and the Fibonacci scales and all of those things. I mean, I was heavy in that stuff,
Yeah.
and I loved it. It's great, but it's not foolproof, right? You have to try it. But I think a mix between the two. I built some models back in the day about stuff where you have the evidence is overwhelming. You may have a score. You say, look, if maybe you have 10 indicators or you have 5 indicators that you use, as long as say 7 out of 10 of them are pointing in the direction that you want to go, well, then you go. It depends on what your number is or how you everybody has their own thing that makes you feel comfortable. So one more is kind of, and I don't, some people do, is called the behavioral finance part of it too, right? And that is, how the market's doing and how you think about it, right? So sometimes the decision is not based on fundamental or technical. The fact that, the fact that CEO got caught stealing money, the company's going to suffer in the short term, right? That's neither a fundamental or technical analysis. It's a behavioral. It's a swan event, right? Company's doing perfect. The company's doing well. Everything's looking good, and then the CEO gets caught in some sort of illegal activity or something personal even from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe him and his wife got in an argument or an event public or something like that. And that makes the investors don't like that, and stock reacts. So it's all of those things, and some you can't prepare for something like that. But I think it's important to just look at as much. It's just about the information. You just have to look at as much as possible, and see what people are doing.
Yeah.
Because I believe the markets are irrational. I think the markets are irrational. People make silly decisions. And as a smart investor, you need to be able to capitalize on the decisions of the herd, right? And on the flip side, coming from the institutional space where I am, the institutional space is so rigid. Sometimes you capitalize too. So at the end of the quarter, a lot of people don't realize that. So at the end of the quarter, mutual funds are the biggest buyers of ETFs and stocks, right? So, because the space is huge, right? You're talking about trillions of dollars of space. So let's give an example. That these last quarter, at the end of Q3, the markets were down a bit, right? So the markets have fallen off. So people are like, oh, it might be time to sell. But actually, because the mutual funds are now out of line, if they were 50-50 equities, that equities are moving down. So they have to buy. They have to buy at the end of the quarter. they have to
Mm-hmm.
rebalance the position at the end of the quarter and bring it back up to 50-50, for example,
Mm-hmm.
if that's asset allocation. So if you know that, you can take advantage of that, because the mutual fund managers are not, they're acting on behalf of the investors, and the investor has a mandate that they have to follow. And if the stock has moved, if you know the market has moved 2% away from where the line is, that means it's billions of dollars of buying opportunity into the S&P 500 that's coming at the end of the quarter. You can guarantee it. So why would you be on the wrong side of that trade? Why would you be selling if the biggest guys in the market are buying?
Right.
So you know what I mean? So there's these things that you can get involved in trading if you just do your research and stuff like that.
I mean, I've seen the results of it. I didn't actually think about mutual funds having to rebalance, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I thought that we were just getting ready for the Santa Claus rally, and everybody's just getting revved up. But that's some good information, Zuri.
Yeah. And so you mentioned the Santa Claus rally, which is interesting too, or some people call the January effect on the backside of that. I don't know if you guys have talked about this before, but like, you know, especially when it comes into Black Friday season and Christmas, when you see, you know, the companies like Amazon and Walmart and these guys, retail sales give you numbers, you know, you think they're going to do well. So, you know, that's a rally that you can get involved in. And then the January effect, it's kind of like the mutual fund thing, where, especially in the United States, which is the biggest market, the tax loss harvesting perspective, right? So, so just as a bit of information, in companies or individuals that have a tax loss, it's better for them to sell the losing position, and then they don't have to pay any tax, or they can reduce the tax bill, and they'll buy the stock back right in January, like on January 2nd or 3rd. So if you know that, again, the same thing, you know, these people have to buy the stock back. They don't want to get rid of these stocks. They're only selling it to buy it right back, just so they can just harvest the loss and reduce the tax bill. It's an allowable accounting practice that happens across the United States. So it's not illegal. You're not doing anything untoward. It's just a fact. So if you know that millions of people are going to be selling their positions, you know, in December 30th and 31st, and buying them back in January 2nd, you know, it depends on what you should be doing, right?
Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, as a Bermudian, I never really got big into taxes, and so I have admittedly very limited knowledge about it. But I was listening to a podcast this morning, and they were talking about tax harvesting and basically how investors can legally go about maximizing profits and reducing taxes at the end of the year. So I'm glad you brought that up as well.
Yeah, then the offshore space usually just turn off when taxes come in.
Yeah,
right?
I'm like, taxes. All right, I'm gonna I'll be back,
That's
guys.
gonna work
Let me
on
know.
me.
You talk
Let
about
me-
taxes, yeah. That's why I live in Bermuda, so we don't deal with taxes.
Yeah, but this stuff is good to know, though. It's really good to have those sort of tools in your arsenal.
Yeah.
When you're looking at investing. Okay, the other question I wanted to cover was, what advice would you give yourself if you look back now? What advice would you give yourself, having learned everything you have now? And also, what advice would you give an up and coming person who's very keen on investing?
Give myself, not get too emotionally invested, man. I always think back to that sale of stock, man. That hurt me, bro.
Yeah, I can tell. This is therapeutic
yeah.
right now.
It is.
You're healing. You're healing.
Don't get too invested in a stock. I mean, they don't care about you. Like, so, you know, it's a business transaction, and you need to be able to tell yourself this is good or this is bad. So for me, it was just one, don't control your emotions, and you know, even actually on the same token, I would also tell myself that maybe take a little bit more risk, especially at a young age, right? Take a little bit more risk, and I don't want to lose. You know, you want to lose $5 or $10, like it could have turned the other way. Take a little more risk, and at the worst case, you know, you would learn from it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I would tell myself. For people coming up or people just starting in the investment space, kind of two or three things, but one, like I've been saying, right, is just kind of educate yourself as much as possible. Listening to you guys on how you guys are doing a great thing, getting information out there. So educating yourself, whatever it is, if it's reading books, if it's listening to podcasts and shows like this are great because they're more interactive and more, you can, it's kind of more back and forth. It's more real life. Control your emotions again, and like you don't understand what that is. So many people just act on emotion, and in life it's not even good to just always act on emotion. But in the stock market, when you're talking about your money, so yeah, that, and kind of the same like I told myself, like take some risk. It's in my space where I see a lot of it's this weird dichotomy. There's some charts that I could show you, but the long and short of it is that you have younger people. So as you know, the main piece is that the younger you are, the more risk you're able to take, or should be taken, because time is your friend. But the older you are, the less risk you probably should be taking, because you don't have that much time left. You could make money. But in just about most cases, the youngest people that have the most capacity to take the risk are the ones that don't want to take it because they don't really have as much capital built up. But then you have the older people that are retired or whatever the case, that have tons of money. They don't want to take, they want to take all this risk. And like you're the ones that shouldn't be taking the risk because you're about to retire or you need the money for, you're not stop working. You're gonna stop working. But then the people that are younger that should be taking as much risk as possible, like, no, I don't want to do it. So it's this push and pull that you have so if we're able to flip that mindset, that once you're younger, you should be taking as much risk as possible. And once, as you get older, you can start scaling back and, putting your money in safer investments to just live on wealth. I think we would do a lot better. But, emotionally, you can understand it, right? You're just out of college or you're just out of high school and you got, you don't have thousands of dollars to your name. You can understand the apprehension of not taking a risk. But, you have 50, 60 years into retirement. So you have the opportunity to take tons of risk. So, trying to teach in that concept is key, is really, really key.
For me, I like to trade risky assets like cryptocurrency. So, a lot of people hear about the 50 or 80% drops and stuff like that, and like, oh man, that's not for me. But they're not recognizing that some of them will give you 50,000, percent. It's been some crazy sort of percentage gains on some of these things. Now, I'm not that sort of into it where I personally received it, but I have seen some really high percentages comparable to what else is out there based off of, taking the risk and also learning about it so it doesn't feel so risky after you learn about it.
And when we talk to clients all the time and at work, it's definitely about diversification and putting these certain buckets that you need, right? Percentage of your portfolio needs to be in something that's safer, but and another percentage could be in something that's much riskier. And then you have to decide how much risk you're willing to take on each of those. But I think there's a place in your bucket, in your, you think about it like, tell people think about it like a pizza pie. And you cut up the slices, each slice could be different. And as long as you can step back and see your whole pie, and how each of them are going to perform, you can go from there. It's just that when, you have a pizza pie that's all the same, or you have all your money in a CD and it's not making even 1%, but inflation is 2%, and you wonder why you haven't earned any money. That's why. Yeah. And there's plenty of places to invest in risky assets, whether it's crypto, whether it's FX, whether it's stocks, whether it's real estate, whatever it is. I mean, I think you have to move around.
Yeah, I like the pie example, and I wanted to kind of maybe focus a little bit on your sort of diversification, because I know you have your profession, and then you also have your own investing, and then you also do entrepreneurial projects and investing in companies, private companies. So can you share with us a little bit about that sort of aspect of your investing?
I always was very interested in people with money, right? So I always, or people that were successful in whatever it was, right? So I
Mhm.
read books um, about very successful investors or people that wanted, and I'll see what was the common thread, and the common thread was usually they all in the business,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everyone has stocks and bonds and all that, but one of the most common threads was this guy owns a business. So if you think of like the billionaires and people in the world, all of them own a business. So you say, oh, who's the richest person in the world? Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Bill
yeah,
Gates or all of these guys. And what do they do? Oh yeah, here's Amazon or here's this. And you just name off their business.
yeah, yeah,
There's a handful of, you have the Warren Buffett of the world that have kind of come across as, investors. But at the end of the day, most of the people were in a business, invested in a business, grew that business, or some sort of way made money from a business. So I was like, if I can invest in a business, that would be great. So so yeah, I have a few investments that I invested in some local businesses, and it was taking a risk. It was starting and having an idea, and kind of doing your research about the marketplace, about you know if it can be successful, what it will take, and it's no magic formula to it. But um, I think just kind of putting the effort in and being willing to kind of be patient with the investment is key.
like we were saying before, a lot of people when they're first confronted with investing, I think the instinct is to just focus on public stocks and
Hmm.
maybe bond. Now I guess now it's probably more crypto and a little bit of NFTs or something like that. But
Hmm.
there's a lot more to the business, the actual business, and
Yeah.
looking at everything, the operations of the business, all those sorts of things.
So kind of to dive into that. So I think PJ was talking about before, the entry point is most important, and taking an
Hmm.
opportunity and being able to add to it. So one of the first businesses I got involved with, was in the entertainment space, and it was being managed by a friend of mine, and he had all the expertise, and he was doing well, and he just needed some help. He just was like, I don't have somebody else committed to help me take this to the next level. I know what it can be. So I joined forces with him and was able to, provide my expertise. I have, some history in the entertainment industry, and I'm a musician. But so it was interesting for me. But it was at a small it was at its infancy stages, in a sense.
Hmm.
So a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, it grew to something a little bit bigger, and
Okay.
it's still going on, and still, and so that was kind of my thing is, I'm not the inventor. So I think there's a difference between, you have some people that actually come up with a product, right? That come up with a
Hmm.
whole idea from a seed capital, like some guy, he would come up with a new phone or new device. Like those people are one in a million, right? People
Hmm.
that come up, inventors, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of look at myself as the more of the investor slash entrepreneur piece, where I'm willing to see a good idea, to see a good entry, to get involved, to put some capital, and more so put some time behind it, and I think can grow it, because everybody has an idea, and to take that idea to fruition. Because most people that are inventors and entrepreneurs, they're so focused on the idea that they need someone kind of like me or an investor to help them.
Like a
So
VC.
Hmm.
that's kind of how I see my
Yeah.
space, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
all about the diversification, right? So you have your
Yeah.
stocks, you have your crypto, you have FX, real estate, whatever it is. I think all of those things, put together can kind of help your portfolio. It's a whole different kettle of fish when you're talking about small businesses because it's a long time horizon. You can't even really value it. What do you value it at? What it can become. So it's almost impossible to value like the public market. But it could be lucrative if it works out and if you stick with it.
I was just about to ask you, like, you said it's difficult to value it, but obviously you can value it. So, like, what would you say? Like, would you use like your monthly income or revenue for it, or net? Like, how would you sort of decipher what's a great startup versus just that sort of faith in the company or the inventor?
It depends on the person who's valuing it, right? Depends on if the value of something is just basically what somebody else is willing to pay for, right? So the value can be, anything, it just long as the person is willing to pay for it, right? So, so it just so yes, cash flow and revenue targets are important. I mean, sometimes you can have similar businesses that you can look at in the space to kind of see the difference. So if you're starting a restaurant, for example, and you can look at other restaurants and see how much they earn per month, per year, and value to see if your restaurant can earn that or whatever the case may be. But it's a value because you may start a restaurant and it's going well, but then your competition to another restaurant in that space, so they may buy you out because it's a value. So the value to them is higher, is much higher, and they're willing to buy you for something or someone else. So yeah, it's tons of different ways. I mean, we could talk about all of these cash flow targets or cash flow models. All of that is intellectual stuff, right? At the end of the day, if there's not somebody out there willing to pay for it, what's the value, right? Well, if it's earning you money, it's valuable to you.
Well, we definitely have to get you back on the show, Zuri.
Yes, for sure.
I think we want to definitely put something in the calendar, maybe early in the new year where we can get you back on and just talking about the new year. If you had to kind of give a theme or a sector or maybe one or two things that you're going to be looking at into the end of the year, into next year. There's a lot of talk about inflation. What sort of things are on your radar for the next 6 months, let's say?
Two things. I mean, I think in this market now, after what's happening in the world events of COVID, there's this big thing that we keep talking about in the markets called the reopening trade, right? So the reopening trade is basically the fact that half of the business in the world has slowed down or shut down in many cases, and in some cases, or at least are going to reopen. Or you would think that if the economy is going to get back to where full steam, they're going to reopen. So let's just take, for example, airlines, where I just read something this morning where the London to New York route was canceled for the last 18 months. That's the most flown route internationally in the world. So that's a reopening trade. That's a reason right there that what other markets benefit from that? Now Europeans can come to two biggest cities. The biggest city in Europe to the biggest city in the United States is now back open. What commerce does that bring? What does that bring with that? The market is now reopening. So you can take that across the board, right? And to other markets, you're talking about event spaces where you couldn't have music festivals and concerts and stuff. You couldn't, people weren't driving. So I know it's broad there, but I think that's one of the biggest things. So what markets are closed now, that have been closed or significantly depressed because of the pandemic, that are going to open or have opened? Pick your poison on that one. So, and then the second thing I think potentially can be financials. So banks in particular, because banking or the Federal Reserve has actually put the interest rates to zero, and it's been there since the pandemic. At some point, and they've indicated sometime in 2022 that they're going to start raising interest rates. Right?
Mhm.
Banks are the biggest beneficiary of interest rate raises. I think it was like for every half a percentage point, like the big banks such as like the Bank of America and stuff, they build off of just one rate hike, just because
Well,
they
can you
now
repeat
charge
that
a
number?
big.
Can you repeat that number one more time? Can you say that again?
So basically, on every half a percentage point interest rate raise,
Mhm.
the banks, I can't, like say Bank of America or JP Morgan, whatever the bank is, they make a certain amount of $1 billion of profit or potential profit because of that spread that they can get.
Mhm. Right.
So if so that's another. You can kind of classify that as the reopening, if you want, but
Mhm.
they're not lending. If they're lending money out now, they can't. The spread that they're earning is lower.
Right.
So
Right.
if the interest rate is only 0.5%, because as most people know, they lend out money at a higher rate and then pay you an interest at a lower rate and keep the spread.
Right.
So if they can lend it out at a higher rate based on the Federal Reserve, their spread becomes higher.
Yeah.
So I think banks potentially can be great going forward as soon as the Federal Reserve starts to. Well, they have said they're going to raise interest rates, so
Yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah.
Depends when. So that'll be my two.
I guess for those that want to get started, they're motivated from seeing this show. What books or courses or podcasts you will recommend to anybody that wants to look to get into investing?
So it's a podcast called not a podcast, it's a show called The Investing Blueprint. I heard that's pretty good. So I'd invite anybody to have a look at those guys. They seem to be talking about some pretty cool stuff. So
Thanks,
check that one out. That'll be number one on my list.
Appreciate that.
From a book's perspective, the book is a book called The Intelligent Investor. The Intelligent Investor is written by a guy named Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham was apparently Warren Buffett's mentor. The book is very old. It was written in like the early 1900s or so. There you go. That's it. So it's been revised a good bit. And now it's kind of a lot of the terms stuff are up to date. So it's a good read. It's a fundamental analysis book, very much so. But it's served a lot of people well, and I think it's definitely been a bestseller for years. I've read it a couple times, and every time I learn something new. So I think if you're getting into investing, I would definitely say use that book. Podcasts. I've started listening to a good bit of podcasts recently. There's one that's been really popular, especially in the States. It's called Earn Your Leisure.
Oh yes.
These guys they're very very forthright and thorough in the modern culture stuff. So they relate stuff to modern culture. Two black guys from New York, or originally from New York, I believe. So always trying to help the culture and stuff, and they know what they're talking about. So and it's entertaining too. So they're they have some good some big names on there.
I think the other day they had the Robinhood CEO when they're discussing the I think Wall Street Bets situation. Yeah,
I listened to that episode. It was good. There's one more podcast I like. Sorry, it's called How I Built This. And it's on NPR by a guy named Guy Raz. It's called How I Built This. Excellent podcast. So he much more formal, because it's NPR, but he interviews all of the huge founders. So like he interviews billionaires. So, I listened, the last one I listened to, he had the guy from Dropbox on there. He had the guy from MailChimp on there, the founder of, so basically he just talks about how people build companies.
Mhm.
And the last one I actually listened to was a guy, the founder of JetBlue. And these
Oh
guys have
wow.
some amazing stories about like how they built their company. And
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about big companies. So,
Yeah.
and like I said, that's always kind of been an interest of mine of um, talking to, or listening to these stories of successful people and seeing where they came from, because you know it just depends on where they've gotten to. If you're looking to invest, start, man. Just start. Just
Yeah.
try something and just get it. It's better than keeping your money under your mattress or in a bank account earning you 0.5%.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Use whatever you have, your resources that you can afford, and start invest in something that you like, something that you understand, and just go from there. Because not investing, in my opinion, is worse.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah, that's
risky.
some really good advice. That's really good advice. And I think you've given a lot of golden nuggets through this interview. I'm gonna go back and listen to it as well. But you're right. I think there are varying levels of interest in investing, and I think between the three of us, at least, I think we are all pretty much fully invested or passionate about it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think you really break it down in a way that people can understand. And if anybody out there is listening and they're wondering, should they get into it, we're here to help, and I think we're all trying to help one another in this thing we call life. So thanks again, Zuri. Thank you, and we'll have you on the show again. We gotta figure out
Yes.
the next episode with Zuri Darrell.
Anytime, you guys. Anytime.
Cool. Appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you very much for that interview, Zuri.
Yeah. A lot of
Guys,
gems in there.
wow. Yeah, so many gems actually. Started making some notes in the comments. So there's a couple of things I'd like to go through, guys, if that's okay. Just get your opinion and get your feedback. So I made a lot of notes. Let me just scroll back. So first of all, Zuri goes on about his dad's taxi. Guys, listen to that. It's like, I know you guys are in Bermuda, but that's like the American dream, isn't it? It's about making your assets work. And for me, how clever is that? It's just unbelievable. And I'm hopefully people who watch the show will realize is that you can have assets, or you can maybe it's a liability at first, isn't it? You've got to buy the taxi, you've got to insure the taxi, you've got to maintain the taxi, then you've got to drive the taxi. But yeah, with Zuri's dad, he was so clever. He actually leased the taxi out and got money back. So I just think that's just an unbelievable story, and I'd like to get Zuri's dad on the show if we could.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do
Yeah,
that.
that would be brilliant, guys. It's just
Yeah.
that was really great, but
Yeah.
just talk about vision and being a true entrepreneur, and I think that's something I'm really striving for myself. I just think that's an amazing story, and I probably would love to sit down with Zuri's dad and just have a chat with him, regarding like the history and how he thought of these things. I just think
Yeah.
the stories are incredible.
Yeah, he's actually my uncle, so I could speak to him and see about maybe getting him on one of the shows. I'm sure
Yeah,
he would love coming on.
yeah.
That's for
No, I
sure.
think that'd be really, really good. Another thing that I picked up on was with Zuri. He's really like humble and like an honest guy, and he was very quick to admit about learning from your mistakes.
Hmm.
Whereas for myself, I've spoken to people in the same position as Zuri in the past, and they wouldn't admit to anything. So for me, it's just fantastic, for Zuri to admit, yeah, he's made mistakes, but he learned from them. And I think
Yeah.
that's something as investors, we can all take on board.
Yeah, no, I agree as well, and I find, especially when it comes to social media and when it comes to people putting things out there in the public, they would usually hide their mistakes, they would hide their
Yeah,
losses, and only show all their big gains. And
yeah,
nobody's perfect. If somebody's telling you that they've never had a drawdown or they've never taken a loss, then run away from them very
Yeah.
quickly,
A lie.
because
100%.
they're not telling you the truth.
Yeah. And
So yeah.
yeah, just to add on that, and I think a lot of people need to remember, like, mistakes are good. You know what I mean? The change to your mindset of like, oh, I don't want to make mistakes. Now, if you continue making the same mistake, then that's different. You know what I mean? But as
Hmm.
far as, yeah, you're gonna take a loss. Like, you know, it's very common with a lot of people, but you want to win more than you lose, and there's
Hmm.
different strategies, and it's just a probability game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
I can't remember who said it, and I don't want to quote the wrong person, but there's a saying is that a person that's never made a mistake never tried anything new.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
very,
and
very
I just think mistakes are part of the learning process. I'm
yeah,
still making that mind, so I wouldn't mind learning a bit
yeah.
quicker. But
experience is the best teacher.
no, but it's great, and it's just great, for someone in Zuri's position, and what he does and the level he's at, to actually come on the show and say, yeah, I've made mistakes. And I just think that, that's fantastic for him, and for someone like myself, very inspirational. So no, that was really good. Another thing I picked up on was EQ, or emotional intelligence. So I'm a big advocate for that,
Hmm.
especially within my workplace. So what I found, guys, in let me think, maybe the last 5 years, is a lot of interviewees, or a lot of people, coming through the door. Is everyone's very, very well educated these days, all to top level. And I think an education, it's extremely important. But I think something that is more important is about your EQ, your emotional intelligence, and it's where you sit in an organization, where you sit in a business, and can you interact with people? Can you be on a level, and can you be a team player? So it was very good to hear about EQ, and I think that's something I'll get covered maybe in the next year or two. Is something we'll hear a lot more about, is EQ. So for myself, I've been working with operational excellence, and working within like large food manufacturers, and construction projects. And EQ is something that's definitely being looked at. So I don't know what your opinion is, guys, and how you guys are seeing the job market. But for me, that's definitely within the UK. EQ is something that's definitely on the horizon.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially when you're looking at bringing someone new into a team, I think a part of it is, can they do the job? How well can they do the job? But a very huge part of it that gets underestimated is how well can they get along with the team, because you're going to have to work with this person every day. Is this someone who is very overconfident, someone who talks down to people, who's actually going to cause issues in the long run because of their ego.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think making sure that you have not only the skills to do the job, but also the ability to have the chemistry I think is going to be a big factor. I agree, going forward.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So for me, it's okay, guys. Three of us follow football, and you can have a star player, if the star player unsettles the dressing room, or if the star player is a very selfish player, doesn't pass the ball,
Yeah,
the team doesn't benefit. So I think this
yeah,
applies to most businesses. You have to be a team player, regardless of your talent. So I can't wait. And straight after this, as always, I'm going to watch the show back.
yeah.
And I just think that was a great interview. That
Yeah.
guys,
Looking
I'm just going
forward
to
to the
reel
next.
off some of the bullet points here, and
Hmm.
we're probably going to go way over an hour on this show. But
That's okay.
there was just so much golden nuggets to take from our interview. Really enjoyed it. The next thing I picked up on was the forex technical analysis.
Hmm.
So well done, Zuri. I agree. And I think the larger time frames you trade is, yeah, I think it's definitely more technical. But I think you can't be ignorant, or you can't ignore fundamentals. I think that was a great point and a great example what was made.
Yeah, I agree, and the fact that he started out in forex, I think, and I think I mentioned it to him earlier, gives me the idea that forex is a great starting point. We've mentioned baby pips, we've mentioned forex,
Yeah,
and a lot of the things that you learn through baby pips and from trading forex,
yeah,
you can apply to crypto and to your other trading,
Oh, Mark.
especially risk management. Yeah. So it made me feel like I and us we were all kind of on the same track. I think we all more or less started with a curiosity in forex, and there has been, I think, some negative connotations with some forex brokers recently, where they have the, I think it's called the network marketing. Great
MLM.
cup, MLM, nice cup there, Andrew. Um,
Oh God, oh, sorry guys. Yeah, as you know, I've moved, so my signature FX merch has all been packed up. So I just thought I'd improvise and just
buy
say like
Bitcoin, buy
buy
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. It's not, yeah, but
Yeah, that's nice.
Yes,
don't forget XRP.
Yeah,
But
that's
I see
me.
that. I see that. We should have an XRP show or an
Yeah.
episode on
yeah,
XRP.
Man, we wouldn't have enough time.
yeah.
Yeah, we think
But
an hour is not enough time. We'll be going
Yeah.
multiple hours, I'm sure.
another thing I picked up on, guys, was just like there's a no foolproof system, and ultimately you've got to decide what system suits you. Now, I think that was really good advice, because you find out some of the people on social media will say, you must do technical analysis, you must use Fibonacci,
Yeah,
or you must use Elliott wave, or you must use moving average. And so for me, Elliott wave, I'm not a fan. Okay, it works, and I know it works for you, Mandela, but it
yeah,
doesn't work for me. So I think it was great to hear, that there's no magic number of indicators. Really, it's, as a trader, it's what suits you, and it's what you're happy with. And I thought that was really great and reassuring to hear. So it's not just someone like myself saying, do what suits you best and what makes you profitable. We've got someone, who's professional in his trade, saying the same thing, and I thought that was really great to hear. And yes, and if you're watching this and you're a forex or a crypto trader, there really is no foolproof system. It's what works for you. What you find, what works best.
Yeah,
yeah,
trial and error.
yeah,
Trial and error,
yeah,
and getting that experience. Like Mandela's mentioned before, as far as technical analysis, you need those hours in chart time. You need to be able to read a chart. Just like how musicians need to, well,
Yeah,
not necessarily all the time, but learn how to read music on theory. So I just feel like, through time, don't have your expectations too high. You're not gonna get $1 million. You could follow these hype if you're trading crypto coins like the Shiba Inu coins and stuff. You hear all these successes, but
mhm,
just trust and believe that is not the norm. And there's people who could have been just, investors versus traders. They left it
yeah,
there for months on end, like the guy who put 8 grand in last August, and now had 5.7 billion. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that
yeah,
still,
yeah,
amazes me. Like that's definitely not the norm. But
yeah,
yeah. But
trial and error.
that guy who had 8K to chuck in, it's not like us guys who just got 8K willy throw about. Obviously, he must be well to do, and unless he
Absolutely.
had inside trading information, uh, it was just a punt. And there's nothing more that because
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. I think we may have
uh,
gotten.
yeah, you don't have the
Andrew, I think my
historic
internet.
data.
My
You're good.
net's
You're
not
good.
the best today.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, we don't
yeah,
have the historical data, to set your lows and highs on that coin. So yeah, it was a punt and it paid off. Well, well done.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah, it was one of those things.
yeah.
Just another thing I picked up on was about like taking risk when you're younger. And I agree, you got time to recover. But I have to agree, when I was younger, I spent all my money on like fast cars, going out on Saturday night, and the rest I just squandered. So I'll be honest, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I think he's having some internet challenges.
Yeah.
I think Andrew.
Yeah,
But while his frozen, I just piggyback off of that. I fell into that trap as well. When you're younger, you're making money for the first time, and you don't have the responsibilities like you may have do have now. Sorry, and I spent money. I was buying outfits, every weekend just to go out, just so I don't be
yeah,
seen in an outfit more than once. Which now is dumb. You know what I mean? Spending $300 when a night going out or whatever, which was dumb. But
Yeah.
just I'm
Yeah.
excited really for people, younger people nowadays, because they could reach financial freedom at a much earlier age than their parents or whoever else. Just from the advice that Zuri had mentioned, and take those risks instead of going out spending $300 this weekend. Drop it onto something that been reading up on, and just leave it. If you're not a trader, you want to be an investor, just leave it. Cryptocurrency is in its infancy. I think it's now coming close, if not crossed that $3 trillion mark as far as market cap. And to know that the whole stock market is roughly around 95 trillion. So, once you understand this technology, you're gonna know that all that money is going to come over. It's going to become digital.
Yeah.
It's a much more efficient system. So, yeah, it's exciting times. Like I feel like my younger brother, once he starts really focusing on this type of stuff, by 30 he should be set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just my optimism. But yeah, I just feel like younger people nowadays, with the rate of information that's how it's being transferred, the opportunities, the examples, the really it's a lot of fear in the world, but I think more people need to hear more positive, and
Yeah,
you know let them know that it's not all fear, it's not all doom
yeah.
and gloom.
Yeah.
Um, I
Good point.
hopefully I'm back on the show, guys.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
good.
we hear you
Yeah.
clear now.
Yeah,
It could
so
be the
just
RV. It could be the RV.
yeah, just try to
Yeah.
tether off the iPhone.
Yeah.
No, PJ, 100% agree with you, and I just wish when I was younger, I had the opportunity for the investing blueprint or signature FX, and I wish I had access to things like YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And yeah, you're right. Can imagine if us guys met up, 10, 15 years ago, what we would have achieved by now with what we know. And just
Yeah,
hindsight's a wonderful thing.
yeah,
And just picking up on about education, and yeah, there's just so much information out there. And like Mandela, he even gives out free information. He tells people follow baby pips. Yeah, Mandela, he also, in his free time, which I know, obviously he struggles with, but he does invest in masterclass as well. So that information is out there for people who want to get rich, or people who want to improve their lives. I think the information is there, so I think there's no more excuses for people. If you're spending, I think I said this in one of our first ever videos, if you're spending $3 a day on a Starbucks or a Costa coffee, you can buy Dogecoin, you can buy Ripple, you can buy Sheep Coin, whatever, you can buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I get people who WhatsApp me, I'm interested in crypto. What should I do? Well, first thing, put down the Starbucks. That's the first thing I'll say to people. But then they never listen to that. I got people still messaging me now who were asking me about Bitcoin with 30K. What's around 64, and they're
Yeah.
still messaging me. What should I do?
right, right. That's almost like a towel that will coming close to the top too. I
Yeah,
feel like once everybody's starting to ask you, hey, how could I get, because their motivation is seeing those big green numbers. You know what I mean? So I just feel like, yeah, it you have to be wary.
yeah,
As now that I've learned, I get more excited for bear markets. You know what I mean? I'm looking for these discounted prices.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Waiting for Bitcoin to drop a lot. And then
Yeah.
I could just jump in heavy.
Yeah,
I agree.
I've noticed a lot of people mentioning Coinbase, especially like in the last week. People have come to me and said, how do I set up a Coinbase account and what do I
Hmm.
need to do? And so
Hmm.
the interest is there. But to both of your points, you're gonna get people who are looking for the get rich quick version, or they just want to know
It
what to go
never
buy.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
they want to
never
get.
works. Yeah,
Nobody wants to get rich slowly. Um,
yeah,
and you can tell them all the information you have. You can tell them exactly what you're doing, all your trades, and 99.9% of people are still not going to do it because
yeah.
they have other things that they'd rather prioritize. So it's a really good point, and I think part of the reason why we started this show and the supplement is to just discuss these sorts of things and bring them out in the open, because
Absolutely.
a lot of times you have to go looking for the good quality information. It may not be as easy to find it through all the noise. But what we've done with Signature FX is giving a platform to try and give you guys and girls as much information as possible to help you on your investing journey. And I'm really glad Zuri came on and helped us with that.
Yeah, so it's just been fantastic. And guys, I got a couple more points, and I'll be done with the Zuri interview. So for me, another question was capital and how. So I think we've been, I think maybe the last 9 months, 12 months, we've been aware of prop trading firms, and oh goodness gracious, I wish I knew about this, a long time ago. But guys, capital's out there, so you don't have to spend your hard-earned cash. You don't. If you can trade, and if you can trade with 10% in a month with a 5% drawdown, there are prop firms out there that are going to take you. So if trading's for you, if you think that's something you want to do, get in touch with Mandela for sure. And there's FTMO out there. There's a company called Top Step and Audacity Capital. They're quite good. I've been trying out a company called Blue FX, and they only run a 3-to-1 leverage, and they're just no good. You're just not going to make no money. So obviously we're gonna knock them on the head end of the month. But just while we're here, I know PJ jumped in and asked about crypto, and Zuri gave a great example of a pizza pie, and I really enjoyed that example. But guys, I want to say, just remember that some guy bought a pizza with what was it?
25,000. Sorry, 10,000.
10,000 Bitcoin. So he bought a pizza with 10,000 Bitcoin from Papa John's. I think that's worth, I don't know, guys, what's it worth? About 6.3 million
At the time, it was $25.
Yeah.
So, I'm not obviously. My advice is, guys, crypto's in the infancy, and I think it's worth you looking at for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, not to cut you off, Bob.
Yeah.
But no, I'm saying that treating it as the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. So look more into it, definitely.
We're not telling people to go and throw all their savings into any crypto.
I would never tell people what crypto to buy. No once. No, another thing, guys, was another excellent takeaway was reopening trade. Now, I hadn't really thought about this, and to me now, as soon as I heard that today, that was it. Boom. So for me, what's been shut down, what's been affected the most, and what's the biggest players in the market? So for me, airline, there's some really good investment opportunities here, and I think maybe on the next show we should go through what's been shut down and what's going to reopen. So that was just such a golden nugget, and I'm hoping people who watch the show, to take this information and apply it.
Yeah, I had a few other things as well, because it sparked my mind as well, Andrew. So things also like Airbnb, and I checked Airbnb on Friday, it was up 7%. People have been sick and tired of being locked down. People want to go out and travel, so airlines is a great one. Even like your hotels. Yeah, exactly. So we could probably spend some time on the next show going through some of those ideas too, because Christmas time is a time when people take time off from work and they want to go out and about with their families, especially after having to be locked down and having limited mobility over the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's just good to see that Zuri thinks that the investing blueprints, top of the pops for him, top of his list. So well done, guys. Done a really good job. And one thing I'd like to say, some of the books he mentioned as well, or some of the podcasts were fantastic. What I'm hoping, Mandela, is after the show, maybe we can post a couple of links in the comments.
Yep, I'll put it down. I'll put it down in the comment section for sure. People can have a look at that.
As always, guys, I've gone on too much.
That's all right.
But no, like I said, I'm really sorry I missed that interview, and I wish I was there. But that's officially the first time I've listened to it, and there's just so many takeaways from it. I just thought it was really, really good and beneficial to myself and to all the viewers.
Yeah, I think I just want to add one thing on there was Zori's contact. So at the end we weren't able to put his contact information on. So if anybody does want to reach out to Zori, it's invest@butterfieldgroup.com if you want to get some more information from him. And like we said, we definitely will be getting Zori back on the show,
And Zuri's dad.
and his dad, yeah, for sure,
100%.
absolutely.
I'll make sure I have that interview, definitely. So
Yeah.
brilliant.
I think next up is going to be the side bet.
Side bet.
We lost PJ. Where did PJ go? I don't know what happened.
I think he's a sore loser, mate, to be honest. What's going on, PJ?
Yeah, I have to see. Maybe I can.
1 second. He hasn't taken it. Mandela.
Yes.
He hasn't taken it well. He's up.
Oh, gee. Okay, I was gonna actually tell him. It's not over yet.
Yeah.
It's not over yet.
It's not over. It's not over till it's over, guys, you know. So, side bet, guys. So, what happened was we had a 2-week trade-in challenge, which was double the points. So, I think PJ was leading 3-1. And the idea was for you guys to trade off for 2 weeks, with the final day being tomorrow. And I think that closes at, is it 10 p.m. Bermudan time tomorrow?
It's 5 p.m.
5 p.m. So can you pull up the scores where we're at? So who's in the lead at the moment?
This is the overall percentages since the start.
Okay, and do we have the balances where we're at?
Yeah, so this was PJ's balance.
Okay, and yourself?
Myself.
Oh, PJ's got a lot to do. He's got to do 3K in a day.
Yeah, it's doable. It's doable.
It is doable. He can do it. I got. Yeah. Okay. So congratulations, Mandela. Well done on the side bet. So guys, what happens is Mandela, if you do win tomorrow 5 p.m. Bermudan time, we're in. I think we're into. I think it's a draw actually.
Yeah,
it could be a draw. So lead into the Christmas time. I will think of a great competition. I'll announce our competition on the next show on the supplement. I think it might just be another trade-off. But what I might do is just to clip your wings is limit the pairs.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
We got PJ back now.
Man,
PJ, it's okay. You know, we were talking about you, not to you. It's all good. Yeah. No, we were just saying side bet. So yeah, it looks like he's 3K in the lead with 1 day to go. It's not over till it's over, bro. It's not over.
Yeah, I might have to do a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I'll do it for you. It'll be okay. But, right, what we're going to do, guys, is I think it's all to play for. So after this side bet, I think the scores are level. And then going into Christmas, we might just do another trade-off. But
yeah, I might.
I'm going to select one currency pair or two currency pairs for you guys to trade.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we're going to decide the forfeit to be revealed on New Year's Eve.
The tiebreaker.
Yeah. So
yeah.
The tiebreaker.
Pull it off, a miracle tonight.
Yeah.
What I will say, guys, one thing is the competition winner, they get to be the judge next year. And then obviously I will step in and take their place. So be kind. Okay. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
So guys, that covers the side bet. So what's next?
Competitions.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, Andrew?
Yeah, so guys, mine's an easy one. So for the Forex guys, the price was price on silver, and our winner was Misha again. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm either going to increase the funded account we set up for Misha, or I will open another account for him, so we can try his technical analysis and his systems on another account. So again, guys, going forward next month, the competition will be the closest price to the US dollar, Mexican peso. The reason why Mexican peso is because I'm watching way too much Spanish TV on Netflix, really enjoying it. My Spanish is getting good. So yeah, again, if you're struggling with the accent, I could be coming at you. I could be coming at you in Spanish, January 2022.
I thought you were gonna actually say that part in Spanish, but maybe
I
next
did
week.
have a couple. I did have a few lines lined up, but
Okay.
it didn't really make sense. But guys, yeah, let's go for the US dollar Mexican peso for November the 30th. And again, the winner will win a real funded Forex cent account. So that's it from me, guys. And may the best trader win.
Okay. PJ, do you want to do crypto?
Yes, we mentioned Dash. Now this is a tricky one. It can pop off and be very volatile at times. But yeah, price of Dash USD per by November 30th.
Okay.
Put your calls in.
Okay. Just to go back to the October winner, we had Shane who had won again. And he is, I think he won 20 points in the Crypto Wizards group. So congratulations to Shane for winning last month's competition for the Crypto Wizards.
So guys, for the next investment blueprint, can we pull up some league tables to see who's where?
Yeah.
Can we do that? Because it'd be quite interesting to see. Obviously, I did say the Crypto Wizard group. We actually going to give the winner some cryptocurrency. So it'd be quite interesting to see who's in the lead. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So that'll be good.
Yeah, we can do that. I can do that for sure. And the last one was the Savvy group. So that was Shane as well. He's been cleaning up. He's been winning a lot. So congratulations to Shane. And we're going to grab some lunch in the next few weeks. Sit down and he can tell me all his secrets. And I can share those with you on the next show. And that was for Alibaba at the end of October. I think that one we get the most participation. A lot of people seem to like that competition. So for the next week, for the next month, sorry, we're going to look at gold. Gold's been looking fairly good in the last week or two. So we're going to go with Barrick Gold, and that's ticker symbol GOLD, and post in the WhatsApp groups before end of the month. And I think we had said before, we said backstage to give people until end of day Tuesday to post, so that everybody has a little bit of time to post their ideas. Okay, that's it. That's it for the groups. And what do we have next up is any discussions, anything that we're looking at, I guess, anything we're looking at between now and the next show.
Yeah, so for me, I sound like a broken record, but looking to be trading gold over the next fortnight with FTMO on their MT4 platform. So I'll be happy to share that with the next show to see where we're at. And guys, I just want to say it's been a great show. Really, really enjoyed the interview, and apologies, for the lighting behind and the internet connection. And hopefully on the next show I'll be settled at home and back to normal. But it's been great, guys. Really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, good stuff. PJ?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm just gem hunting, man. I like to hear him run hits. I haven't done too much trading per se, but I'm looking at a lot of the Polkadot ecosystem. I think we mentioned it maybe off air about the crazy metaverse world that's in the hype right now, or in the news at the moment. Facebook changed the name to Meta. They're not trying to be known as a social media platform anymore. They just want to consider that as just a branch of their business. But the metaverse, the more and more you look into it, me personally, I'm not a gamer like that, but I see the potential.
Yeah. So myself, I could say I'm a bit of a closet gamer. So I got the Oculus Rift. So I am a bit of a gamer actually, and I suppose I can thank my big brother for that. So I've just got rid of the Oculus, and I'm looking at getting an Oculus Quest within a week or two, and I've also just got myself a PS5. So for me, I know there's a lot of negative reviews about the metaverse. Me, I can't wait. Just plug me in. Let's go. I love it, guys. And so I've been into VR probably the best part of 2 or 3 years. And yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings. I just can't wait. Wouldn't be a bad idea, maybe for us to do that in the supplement show. Let's bring up some metaverse articles and go through them. But yeah, for me, I'm really excited. Can't wait, and can't wait to get my new Oculus Quest.
Yeah, yeah,
If you know if Santa allows, I'm looking forward to it for Christmas. Can't wait.
yeah.
It'll be good.
Just make sure that you're a good boy for the
Yeah, I
next
do
month
try.
and a half.
I do try.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
guess
I
that.
think the space is massive, and I guess just along with the theme, buy low, sell high, because it's massive, and because it's got so much hype and expectation. You have a lot of projects that are now trying to fill in the gaps that don't exist right now. And I think the NFT market, non-fungible tokens for
Yeah.
those that aren't familiar, it's a lot of in-game currencies that are sort of going to be utilized. So,
Yes.
if you could find the platforms that could kind of, be associated with some of these new games that are going to be, massive, then you could really, really, really get some nice gains.
Yeah, so guys, we need to take NFT offline and have a chat about it again. We've got so many shows to do, but we need to do this one. Is that I've had people trying to sell me, like going to NFTs. I think it is a future. It's something that's happening. The metaverse will push that. But I've actually had somebody trying to sell me virtual land within the metaverse already. And there's actually websites out there now that are selling you like a virtual condo, based in
It's
the
huge.
The New York equivalent
Yeah,
of the metaverse, and it's insane, guys, because
yeah,
people are actually buying these things. People are buying virtual land in the metaverse. It's crazy. I can't get my head around it at the moment. I need to
yeah,
study it a bit more.
yeah,
Maybe it's an age thing, but it's
Hey,
crazy, and people are paying like
yeah,
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
yeah,
In
no,
my
I
opinion, it's a JPEG. It's a JPEG, but people are doing it. So it's something we need to look at, and it's something as Signature FX and as a educational trading company, is something we need to understand, and we need to get into it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Like, like for me, I personally can't understand it. But as the investor in me, I realize even though I might not be into it, there's going to be a demand for it. And you have like-minded people who are gobbling all this type of stuff up. I had seen one of the prices for like an entry level, man. It was like 4 or 5 Ethereum, and that's like at an early stage of buying. And I think some of them had been sold for 100 plus Ethereum. So you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, and possibly millions, as far as real estate is concerned, for a virtual sort of platform, a virtual, you know, y- to me, it's not. I can't live there for real. So I'm like, well, why would the hell somebody pay that much for it? But
yeah,
people, I guess if you've made some serious gains and you could
Yeah,
recognize the appreciation over the years, then you would throw some coin at it.
yeah.
yeah,
I think
but
it's the future. I definitely think it's the
yeah,
future.
but going back to it, Net, like say you can't live there or be part of it, but where will we be in 5, 10 years time? Are we looking at a matrix universe?
Hmm.
If you go onto
Yeah.
the tinfoil FX channels and things like that, you'll see that the Matrix was a documentary.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
is that the way we go? With the future, will there be an opportunity through VR that you can actually plug yourself into these places? Guys, this is crazy talk, but it's
yeah,
unbelievable. But
yeah,
It's happening.
when I comment on the video later, I'll actually put the website where they're actually selling metaverse land for sale. You can actually
yeah,
go in and buy yourself a condo, buy yourself a farmhouse, and it's not cheap, guys. We're talking like 40, 50 grand just to
yeah.
get yourself a virtual bit of farmland.
Yeah,
It's
well,
crazy.
Zori made a good point, and he said that the value of something is how much someone else is willing to pay you for it. So if you think that a virtual house in, a penthouse in New York in the virtual world is worth $2,000 and somebody's willing to pay you $3,000 for it, then that's the value that somebody's willing to pay you for it.
But,
Now,
but
I still haven't wrapped my head around it, but if we think 5 years down the road, is this penthouse going to be worth
yeah.
$1 million, and are you going to pass it down to your kids? Or I
But
just don't get it.
listening to this conversation right now, isn't this our dads trying to understand Bitcoin?
Yeah, you're right.
Pretty
You're right.
Yeah,
much.
because ultimately
Yeah.
Bitcoin it's not supply and demand, is it? It's
Yeah.
Bitcoin's at a price what people think it's worth.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, a lot of cryptocurrencies they don't have a solid standing. They don't. So Bitcoin right now is priced what people think it's worth, what people are willing to buy at, and I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
Not knocking Bitcoin or any other crypto, but ultimately, why is Bitcoin worth $67,000 or $64,000? Why?
Some people
Because
actually
someone's
seen it
going to
to
pay. Somebody's
Tether.
going to pay for it.
Because
Somebody's going to
somebody,
pay
yeah,
you that for it.
as long as somebody's willing to pay it,
Yeah.
that's where it's at. But what I would say is when Bitcoin does get fully adopted, will we see our price drop, with other altcoins and back in line to maybe what things like inflation and some monetary value what it should be. So it's just really interesting. But yes, I think NFTs for me is like my dad trying to understand Bitcoin and something I need to look into.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm glad we had this conversation. I know we've gone over the hour mark, but I think it was worth it. And
Yeah,
always enjoy this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Part two on
People,
these topics
Yeah.
or
I'm sure
continuation.
I'm sure if people
Yeah.
don't want to watch after an hour, they can always knock off anyway, can't they?
Yeah. they can,
come back to it.
Yeah.
But it's just been such good content tonight, and there's just been a lot to cover. But guys, offline, I think we just need to maybe structure some shows, especially for NFTs. I think it's really, really important. I think as the three of us just get up to speed with that pretty quick.
Yeah.
And,
Learn the
Mandela,
terms better real quick.
I don't want Signature FX, missing out on this opportunity.
No, we need to. We need to. Even when we were talking about what the shows would cover, we did say NFTs. And so I think we got a little bit of homework to do.
Yeah.
And between now and the new year, I think we can definitely cover lots of new things.
Yeah.
So I suppose last question, guys, before I go is, what price was Bitcoin when you got interested, or it perked your
Well, I'll go first. I'll go first on this
so
one.
what price is
So when I first got into it, it was under $1,000.
me too.
I can't remember the exact price, but I think Bitcoin was around $400-$500. When somebody, I think it was Q from one of the groups, mentioned it, and I'm not sure about you guys, but I was kind of like, it's the same sort of metaverse thing. I was like, is this metaverse currency?
Yeah.
Or matrix currency.
So for me, I'm pretty sure I was in Morocco, Casablanca, 2014, and it was at 740 a coin. And I was watching it on my Forex exchange, my broker, and I was like, what's this about? 740 a coin. And then I started to read up on Bitcoin, and it was digital gold. I'm like, you're taking the piss, like, it doesn't even exist. Well, you want me to buy something called digital gold? There's no chance. That's 740 a coin. I think within the next year it broke over 1,000, and that's when I reached out to my big bro and said, we need to have, what's this Bitcoin about? And then that's when we got into the Bitcoin mining. But so we missed out big time there, and look where it's at now. So
60, above 60.
So
what about you, PJ?
Well, in the same group, the guy that introduced it then, he ended up, I was just starting to get into Forex. I never traded any trades in Forex. And I started doing a bit of research on it. I took a few courses on, I think it was called Navigating Your Way Through the Digital Economy, the New Digital Economy. And I got really excited, but I kept my emotions in check. I didn't want to put any money into it just yet. So this was about May of 2017, and I bought my first Bitcoin after a dip. It was like around 2,500, and then it dipped to about 1,800. But unfortunately, all the other shiny altcoins got my attention, and I sold a lot of my Bitcoin for um these oats, which end up being quote unquote shit coins, But
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I definitely recognize that it's still early, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of opportunities moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, I think Ripple's my second coin. I think Mandela and I think I think we got into it around 30s. Trying to think what year it
Second
was,
one.
maybe 2017, 2018 is around 36.
Christmas, Christmas.
Yeah,
It's around
and
this time of
it boomed up
2017.
to 350, and it was like, wow, here we go. And
Mm.
yeah, I really got that's when I really got heavily involved with Ripple. And if I'm honest, out of all the coins, as much as I love it and as much as I promote it, it's probably the biggest disappointment. And just going back to what Zuri said earlier, I have got the emotional attachment with Ripple, and something I can't shake at the moment.
You and me
But
both.
I think it will. I think it will come to the stage, or end of 2022, where I have to make a decision where does Ripple go and make room for Cardano? Does it
Yeah.
make room for something else? Because
Yeah.
this has been. So Mandela, when do we get into Ripple when it went to 350? Was that
I was at,
2017, 2018?
yeah, but it was at 14 cents or something like that when we got in.
Yeah,
It
I thought it
was,
was around 30. Yeah, but it was around
yeah,
there, and then
yeah,
we got in, and I got out, and I was told it's the banker's coin. Here we go. But guys, come on,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's I can speak for myself, and so I was on the Ripple train, and about a week or two ago, I posted it in our group. I said that I had made the difficult decision to get out of cash out
what
of Ripple,
what
and
price was that?
uh, the exact price was it
Dollar
was
11.
yeah, it's about $1. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was below where we are now, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
okay,
about
yeah,
$1.14, something like that. But I was able to kind of reach a goal for something else, so I took
yeah,
the cash and I
yeah, I'm with you.
reinvested into a different crypto. And I felt like you guys were, holding up the Ripple part of the pizza pie,
Yeah,
and it was still being represented. But like Zori made a good point that with him it was the solar company where you have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
yeah,
And I just made a decision that if I don't get out now, it's going to be harder for me to get out later.
yeah,
Um, and everybody's different. Everybody has their own risk tolerances and
yeah.
their own strategies. But I know for sure PJ is never selling, no matter what
No,
happens.
no, no, no,
Um,
no, no, no. That's not entirely true. I do plan to take profits. I'm not. I'm
okay,
not. I'm not
okay,
gonna ride that wave up and ride it back down. No, no.
okay, okay.
For me, it was more so just I understood the pattern. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
understood, or I'm learning to understand the pattern. Historically, Ripple or XRP is the last coin to move in the bull run cycle. So that's how it historically happened. And I think while it's still been a speculative market, everybody's just guessing that it's going to be utilized. And I know the SEC lawsuit is one that's deterred a lot of people from actually getting having some skin in the game. But if you look at the charts, it's almost, like it, it's to me, I couldn't understand it, but if you had other opportunities that you felt were more lucrative at that point in time, I understand. But as
Yeah,
far as I know that this thing could turn on itself in a flip of a switch,
yeah,
and I just feel looking at the chart structure, I'm seeing that wedge, right? That falling wedge, that bullish chart pattern, and it's hasn't reached all-time high. All the fundamentals are looking excellent with all the partnerships, the transactions per speed, yada yada yada. I could go on forever about it. But as far as looking at where it's gonna go and why was it built, I feel, I could be just regurgitating what the CEO said, but I feel like it's like holding Amazon back in the 90s. So that's what I'm banking on. You know what I mean? If
right,
if if
right,
if
right.
If it's gonna take another 4 years to hit 10,000, so be it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? If it
Yeah.
so
yeah.
yeah, that's
So
my
and that's
strategy
one
on
thing
it.
I'll agree. That's one thing I'll definitely agree with. So with thing like Bitcoin or some other coins hitting all time highs is it's where do they go? They haven't got that resistance level, to go towards, but they do have plenty of support to fall through and to crash through ultimately. Yeah, but
Hmm.
with Ripple, we haven't got back to the all-time high, so it's got that target. It's got that $3.50. So I definitely agree with that. The other thing I would say as well is, yeah, the reason why I'll say this to every potential investor is, don't invest what you can't afford to lose. So with me, with the crypto holdings, listen, guys, if I woke up tomorrow and the internet had shut down, it's not the end of my world. Okay, I'll be a little bit gutted. I've lost a bit of money, but I don't rely on that money, for day in, day out, and things like that. And that's what my investments are. So yeah. So PJ, you just converted me back. I'm reverted back. Yeah. So I'm back. I'm back
No,
in the Ripple. I'm back in the Ripple verse. Let's
so
have
so
it.
so one last point, just while I'm on my favorite digital
Yeah.
asset. Ripple or XRP is the only coin to eclipse uh Ethereum as far as market cap. So if you look at all the times that, I think on like coin market cap, you could see the dominances. And I think XRP is the only coin to eclipse it.
Yeah.
I think
Hmm.
it was last time I checked, the market cap of Ethereum is hovering around like $500 billion. And right now, I don't know what the updated market cap for Ripple is, but I believe it's only around 60 billion. So you're
50,
looking at almost a 10x there.
yeah. Right now it's a 55 billion. That's where we're at with. Yeah.
So if history repeats itself, which it doesn't always do, but like a lot of people say, it often rhymes.
Yeah.
Um, we're looking at some
Yeah.
serious upward sort of movement that's gonna happen. When we don't know. The altcoin market often happens once Bitcoin's peaked.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Bitcoin's peaked just yet. So I, me personally, I don't feel like it's gonna go as high as all of the YouTube gurus mentioned. I'm not one of those that want to follow the herd. If that was the case, everybody will be winning, right? But
That's right.
I,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be, have some appreciation, but I'm not seeing a $1 million Bitcoin in this bull run, or no, 300,000, or whatever, crazy sort of expectations some of these people have. But yeah, it's definitely, I'm feeling optimistic about the next 3 months for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I could always jump back in
Yeah,
Ripple. I
yeah.
had it pulled up. It's not like I'm against it in any way.
It's
It
no
was
right
just,
or wrong choice.
yeah, it was just a personal choice at the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like you guys are representing it, and I may just take a look at it this evening when I'm looking at the charts and reassess the situation. It's always good to kind of refresh yourself with things and to be flexible at certain times.
And to your point, I feel like I've lost a lot of opportunities by having such faith in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like instead of watching the sort of upward gains, and watching them just get eaten away by time. Now that I know that historically it's the the last one to move, and it's almost like the finisher for the bull run in the crypto space. I feel like I've held on to a project and watched all others appreciate when I could have been a bit more nimble and jumped in and out. But
hmm
it's all
So what?
good. Again, experience.
So I would say, guys, this is a good example of emotional intent. No, sorry, of attachment. Here we
No,
go.
absolutely. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not my only holding. You know what I
No,
mean? For
I'm
sure.
not joking, guys.
But
No, I
like,
must say I'm the same as you. So what you've said is ultimately what covers what I am. But my crypto is a bit different from my regular portfolio. So with crypto, I am a hodler. So it doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin, and I've just got into was it Shiba Coin. So we just picked up a couple of million of them. And do you know what, guys? It hasn't broke the bank. And it's what you said earlier, PJ, is what I would spend on a night out. I ended up picking like 5 million cheaper coin for. Now
Yeah.
who's yes, was it, $300, $400? Yeah, if I used to go out now with the family and go for a nice meal, a couple of bottles of wine, it's going to cost me about that. And yeah, okay, the family is suffering. They didn't get a meal and a bottle of wine, but still, we got Shiba coin. So we picked up a couple of million of them, and who's to say in 2, 3, 4 years, where that sits. So for me, yeah, it really is buy and hold. So I don't trade my crypto. I've said that before. It's I got the foreign exchange for trading,
Hmm.
and as for crypto, it's really is buy and hold. And I wouldn't sell any of my cryptos, even if Bitcoin crashed or anything crashed. Now ultimately I'm in it for the long haul. We'll see where we are in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
But
I think
I've been saying that since 2018. So
it's just about patience and holding on to
yeah,
it. And like you said, you're not hurting for the cash, so you're
no,
able to hold it. And each one of us is different. And I'm glad that we have like a different perspective on things, because if we were all the same, it would be quite boring. And
100%.
we each have a slightly different perspective, a slightly different strategy. Like for me, I have, thanks to Andrew, I've been working on the FTMO, which kind of fills my need to trade. So I'm able to kind of get in and get out on the FTMO, and that's fine. And then when it comes to more longer term, I'm the same sort of way. I have my long term crypto, which I don't really touch. I do kind of review it every month or so, but I'm not trading it. And then also a long term sort of stocks account, Forex account.
So
Yeah.
quick question, guys, before I shoot off. When you look at your crypto portfolio and you see that price at the top,
Yeah.
what do you guys see? So like PJ, do you see like a fishing boat or a speedboat, or do you see what? When you see that price, or do you see like a new house? What do you guys know? What's that end goal? What's that vision that you see? Because I know
you
what
want
I
to
see. Yeah, but what
you
do
want to
you guys
answer first,
see?
Bob?
Yeah. When you said what I see, I was like, what app are you talking about that
Yeah,
has a
yeah, yeah,
fishing
yeah,
boat?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
What broker, which
yeah,
exchange are you using? I see freedom of time, freedom of freedom to spend time with my wife and my family.
yeah,
I see happiness, and I see the ability to cut off a lot of the obligations that I have right now.
yeah.
That's what I see. Yeah,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I see with FTMO. So that's
yeah,
where I'm hoping FTMO takes me. But
yeah,
yeah, so that's really good. Yeah, so
yeah,
like say with the cryptos myself, and obviously I keep saying my big bro. Yeah, so me and him are emotionally invested in it, and at least once or twice a week, we send each other an update of our balance, and we're like, so we judge it by cars.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So when we started off, yeah, we could buy. I don't know how you guys in Bermuda now savvy you are with the cars. So when we started off, it was like we could buy like a Fiat or a Volkswagen.
All right.
Then we started working up, and maybe a BMW, maybe a Mercedes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what we're
Yeah.
getting now. So yeah, so our barometer for how well our crypto doing is definitely by car brand for sure. But
Yeah.
we're not near Lambo yet, so
Oh yeah.
No, no,
just my
no, no,
my
definitely.
disclaimer. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
Ripple needs to go above $10. You'll be fine.
you won't
Uh,
see me again, mate. To be honest,
Yeah.
I'll be booking a flight with Elon Musk and William Shatner up to
there
the
you go.
moon. Yeah, so
What about you, PJ? What do you see? What do
Um.
you see?
So again, from one of the books that we had mentioned, I think was in the may have been offer, but Robert Kiyosaki, or could have been in Cash Flow. But anyhow, he mentions how it's just this cycle, right? So you have like your your assets and you're moving them from your portfolio to real estate, and you're just, your profits are just, it's like a triangle, right? So
Yeah.
I just, me personally, I view my crypto account as like my future um real estate fund where I can buy properties, and then I'm gonna look at, whatever rental units that I'm looking to purchase. Then from there, the cash flow or the income that I receive from those properties be invested into other cryptos or other, stocks or whatever. So to me, it's just like I'm just trying to grow this empire. That's my ultimate goal. I'm just trying to grow an empire.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's good. It's
And
really good.
ideally, at the end of that, I would like to purchase, or even have like an Airbnb in countries that I like to travel. Um, I want to visit Costa Rica. I'm a nature freak. I like fresh fruits. I like freedom, earth, waterfalls.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I've been looking up a lot lately, where I've been looking at
Yeah.
Costa Rican properties that have waterfalls on it, and land where I can plant all my mango trees and exotic
Ah,
tropical
brilliant.
fruits. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
That's
that
that's
sounds
my
good.
so.
Yeah,
that's
that
my
sounds nice.
motivation.
Yeah. So one thing
Nice.
you've done now, so maybe the viewers won't pick this up, or people who watch the show. So right now, by you've just said one thing, it's just triggered an investment opportunity to myself that I never would have thought of unless you said it. So I have family in Morocco, in Casablanca, and yeah, we look maybe next year actually looking to get a property in Casablanca. I never once thought about making that property an investment opportunity. So you just mentioned Airbnb. Didn't even enter my mind. I was going to buy an apartment, 2 bedroom. I'd probably use it twice a year. Let family stay there if they needed to. You've just mentioned Airbnb. What a great idea. So I'm
Yeah,
still going to
man.
buy the apartment in Morocco, but you've
Right.
just so I owe you some ripple for that, mate. Yeah. So what I'm
Yeah.
going to do? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I will list the apartment in Casablanca on Airbnb. It's a great idea, PJ. So thank you. Well done.
So
Good.
now that I
Yeah.
know that you have family ties there, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be like, yeah, Morocco is somewhere I would like to visit in Casablanca. So
Yeah.
if you get one, just buy
Yeah.
two, and then I'll give you the change for the second one next week.
Yeah. Yeah. I will do that.
Yeah,
Drama.
I wanna use it as well. I'll
So
book it up
three.
through Airbnb. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. I think that's a good show, guys.
Yeah,
it's been,
man, definitely.
it's been really
Definitely
good,
what
guys.
we
So
doubled
yeah.
the time expectation.
Yeah, but I think it's all good. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's good to be back. I think after the
Yeah.
last couple of weeks, the three of us, obviously, we've had some colds, we've been ill, and we've had some moving house and some issues. And I think supplement show a couple of weeks ago, we were all just recovered and we were a little bit flat. So it's good to be back, with a great interview and a
Yeah.
great show. We just covered so much, and I just hope that people watch, people tune in and watch the show. Just enjoy it and get some good takeaways and some good ideas from what we're trying to achieve. So my final words, guys, that I'm going to punch out then is, if you are interested in anything that we talk about, what we do, please reach out to Signature FX. Please just send us a direct message or get in touch with Mandela regarding the Investor Masterclass. It's probably one of the best things you can do. And learning to trade in Mandela, it's a life skill. So, regardless of what you do in your life, if you ever need something you can fall back on just to make a little bit of pocket money if you want, or have an Airbnb, get in touch. Right, guys? I'll speak
Thanks,
to you
man.
soon. Thank
All
you.
right, Andrew.
Cheers, guys.
Take it easy,
Bye
man.
bye.
Right.
Cool, mate.
Go, P. Any final words?
Um, yeah, just study, man. Study.
Yeah.
The more you know, the
Yeah.
easier you can make certain decisions. So
Yeah.
yeah, just
Yeah.
just learn as much as you can.
Yeah. Put in the time now, and you'll be grateful for it in the future. That's some really good advice as well. And it's not going to be easy. Nobody ever said it's going to be easy, but every day I try and learn a little something new. And this show has given me a few things to look and to focus on. So I'm really grateful for that from yourself and from Andrew, giving a lot of good thoughts. So thanks, P.
Cool, man.
All right. Okay. Until next time.
Yes.
All
Have a
right.
good one. Hope you enjoyed it.